Pick the Nintendo Shack and pray. Frederick from Fire Emblem Awakening says, yo.
Greetings, Koopalings, and welcome to Nintendo Shack episode 190. The Switch Pro is still imminent. I am not Donnie Reese. Donnie is on vacation, so it is just me and Garrett taking over today. How are you doing, Garrett?
Oh, I'm doing great. I'm trying to manage all of this streaming stuff right now, and it's a much different thing with this Melon app, but I'm really liking it compared to OBS, where we could just go live straight into the show. I'm doing very well. How about you?
Not too bad. This is such a busy time of the year.
Yeah.
I feel like I haven't gotten a whole lot of gaming in yet recently, but it is so exciting following everything on Twitter with everything leading up to E3. Are you feeling like you're in the season for E3 yet, Garrett?
Oh, especially today. There's just so much hype around just everything. It's just not just Nintendo. We got a lot of stuff going into E3.
Is such a good time of the year. I always get like, this is Christmas to me, like just the weeks leading up to E3 and then E3, obviously the week itself. I wasn't feeling it a couple weeks ago, but I am certainly feeling it now.
Nice. Good.
And we will be talking a lot about it. Nintendo has released their plans. We have some other news to talk about. I feel like we still have Switch Pro rumors that we're talking about.
Still.
We have lots of questions about. But we will start our show as we do each and every week with thanking our producers. Do you want to thank our producers, Garrett?
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much, everyone. Michael Masick, Barry Cathcart, Edwin Callow, Stephen Keller, Nick Creature, Rudays93, Ben Moxham, Rob Emanuel, Nick Fallhaber, Paul Calico, Cal Heyman, Grouchy Surge, Devin Tyus, Josh Barboni, RJ Kern, Horse Girl 69, Zach Adams, and Joseph Wilson. Ooh, that's a mouthful the last time I read that.
So many. Thank you all for supporting us so much. Like I said, I haven't been doing a ton of gaming lately. It's been so busy. The end of the school year, it's just wild. So much to do. I feel like I'm coming home every day so tired. So really my only gaming has been stuff that I've been doing on stream, which kind of the only notable thing that I've really been doing there is I played some more of that Evo Search for Eden. Did I talk about that last week? Where it's like that Super Nintendo game where it's like evolution, where you start as a fish and you kind of evolve and stuff. Well, I've gotten to the dinosaur age now, so I'm still making progress in that. It's a lot of fun. I think I called it a hidden gem last week. I don't like to use that phrase a lot, but this one really is. So like I said, I haven't been doing a ton of like new gaming and stuff. I have a lot of stuff that I'm like kind of sitting on that I just need to find time to play. But I have been working on a project that I am going to reveal what it is tomorrow, and I'm going to premiere it on Sunday. So keep an eye on my Twitter for what that is. I'm really excited. I've been working on it with a couple friends.
Cool.
Really excited to show this off. You know, we've been working really hard on it, so look forward to that. I can't say anything else about it, but
is this something Zelda related?
It may have something Zelda to do with it.
Oh, okay, cool.
But it's not entirely Zelda.
Gotcha.
But that's kind of all I've been doing. Like I said, I feel like it's just kind of all leading up to this big E3. Like, I feel like once summer hits, I'm going to jump back into gaming and whatnot.
Cool.
I'm gonna have a lot more time on my hands, right after E3.
Yeah. Do you have like any summer school you're doing, or is it just all free time for you this year?
So my job actually ends on the last day of school. My position is only for the school year, so I'm going to be job hunting again this summer. Hopefully I lock in something soon. But yeah, I'm off for the summer, and my last day of school is the 16th. So we have Nintendo's E3 on the 15th, which we'll get into, and then I'm done the 16th. So
cool.
Right after E3 is
right after E3, not before.
It's always like this. It's so frustrating.
We miss you too, Donnie. I got a
Donnie,
little message.
Hi, Donnie.
Yeah.
What have you been up to, Garrett?
Well, I'm still playing Chrono Trigger. I'm almost done, guys.
You say that every week.
The thing is, I've been in court, and like it's literally been in court for like 8:30 to like 5 or 6 p.m.
Oh
Come
my
back, I'm just
gosh.
exhausted.
Yeah.
So I'm glad to be done with it. I'm back to just normal work stuff now. And Chrono Trigger's been really helping me out with the bus rides to downtown. So I've been playing it on handheld, been playing it on that Retro Pocket. I'm just getting used to the Retro Pocket now. It really is an easy to play kind of little emulation machine. I'm at the point with Chrono Trigger. I have did all the side character
Ooh, you
missions
are almost done.
except for one, Marley's.
Okay.
And that's the last one I need to do. And I actually looked up a guide to do these things because
Some of them are very cryptic.
Yeah, no, they're very cryptic.
It'll just say like somebody in the past needs your help, and it's like, okay, like that can be anything.
And people figured it out. I was just like, all right, cool. I mean,
back in the day before the internet.
Exactly. I'm glad I have the internet now to tell me what to do with these side quests. And I don't like go through the quest and like it's like, oh, okay, make sure you do the strategy with this monster or whatever. It's like, no, I just want to make sure I'm going to the right places.
Yeah.
And then once I hit the monster, I'll try my best to get over it. So last week I said the monsters are too easy. That's not the case.
They get tough.
Yeah, I just noticed it. The next boss I was playing right afterwards, it was like a Giga monster or whatever. I was just like, they're whooping me. They're just handing my tail. Like it's so crazy that the kind of the difficulty jump. It's not a difficulty jump. It's more like you get overwhelmed sometimes with the game where it's like, okay, one person is down 100 HP, the other person's down 50 HP. It's like, okay, I gotta make sure I heal these as fast as I can, but at the same time,
hit hard late game, and it's not strictly time based where they might come at you when you're not ready.
Yeah. So, but I'm really enjoying the side characters. I did I did Fiona's side quest, and that has got to be by far my favorite one.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I have to ask, and spoilers for anyone who hasn't played it themselves.
Sorry.
Did you manage to save Luca's mom's legs?
I did not manage to save Luca's mom's legs. The thing is, I wanted to go through the quest as organic and naturally as I can. Yeah. So I did the stuff that I need to do with the guide. Then I just let the story take me, and I witnessed the legs being, chopped off or witness or whatever. And then I later read, and the guy is like, okay, if you do this and that and this and that, and I'm like, okay, guys, how is anyone supposed to figure that out?
I don't think you're meant to like figure it out the first time that you play it, but it's like somebody had to tell me as well. You have to press like the letters of her name, Lara, and like I knew what her name was. I just didn't know how to input that into the controller. I didn't realize. Oh my god, it's the buttons Lara.
I just had no idea what but I honestly thought it was like, okay, I'm just witnessing this act and like it's just doing a character development arc.
You can't do anything about it.
You can't do anything about it. I think that's another cool way to think about it too. There's one boss fight in Chrono Trigger where you're supposed to die, which I think is cool too. It's a very special game, and I'm very glad I'm very close to the end, and hopefully I'll just be done with it maybe like tomorrow or this weekend.
Once you're done with all the side quests, there's really not much more for you to do except for go to the final boss.
Yeah, and I love the late in-game power-ups, the triple tech techniques that I'm figuring out. The latest armor and weapons, like, okay, I'm pretty beefed up now after all of these different side quests. I think I'll be good.
And there's so many ways that you can really play it with the characters that you take. Each of them have different dual techs and triple techs. Like really everybody's experience with playing it, depending on who you are, which characters you're taking in your party, it makes it so different. Do you know that there's multiple ways to fight the final boss?
I know there's multiple spots where you can enter and try to defeat the boss, and that's how you get so many endings.
Yeah, that affects the ending that you get.
Yes.
So just so you know.
That's true, and that's why there's like 27 different endings or something like that, and then there's like different dialogue options if you kill a certain character or not. And I'm like, this is pretty well thought out, well developed type of game for its time.
Ooh, so since you said good. That, is your Magus alive or dead?
My Magus is alive.
Same. I didn't even know that you could kill him and he would be dead. Like he will not
Yeah.
appear in the rest of the game if you kill him.
That's kind of crazy. Yeah.
I didn't
No,
know that when I played.
me neither. I just like, why do I need to battle him? No, I don't want to battle him. It's like, okay, he'll join you. I'm like, cool. All right.
Yeah.
So that's what happened.
Awesome.
And
I'm
it's
looking
really
forward to hearing your thoughts about the end next week.
sounds good. And it's really cool to see that you need to rotate characters in order to learn the new double and triple tech stuff. So that actually incentivized me to rotate all the characters around. And another thing I love about Chrono Trigger, I don't know why other game RPGs don't do this. The level scaling is the same, even if it's not in battle. And I'm like, thank you, because I don't need to grind my other characters to be at the same level.
It's nice.
It's pain in a lot of RPGs. I mean, that's Persona is the biggest like one I could think of that does that. So. But yeah, having a great time with that.
Exciting.
Yeah. So I also played the Disgaea 6 demo. If people know what the Disgaea series is, it's a tactical RPG series published by NISA. It is a wacky Japanese cartoonish RPG. It's more Disgaea. I don't know if you ever seen these trailers or whatever, but they're just the most they're very jokey, they're very comic-y. They like to be very satire, make fun of Japanese trope characters. I think they're funny most of. They don't take themselves like literally at all.
I like that.
The tactical RPG part, they have not changed that formula ever. Basically, it's a lot more level scaling is really high, so you go up to like 9,999, and then you can make these just ridiculous combos with like 4 or 5, 6 different characters. They have these disposable characters called I forgot what they're called, but they're penguins, and they just keep calling you dude a lot. But you actually throw these penguins, and they explode into like enemies. It's like very wacky. The biggest difference with Disgaea 6 is that the main character is a zombie. And so basically you're supposed to let the main character die to reset its level and keep its stats. Ryan called it. It's pretty. That's what the penguins are called.
Oh, they sound cute.
Yeah, they're very cute. But yeah, it's just more Disgaea. I don't have any more impressions than just if you like tactical RPGs, if you like Disgaea, the demo's out there. It's on Switch. It's going to be exclusively on Switch for the time being. It's not on any other consoles.
When does the game come out?
It comes out in the end of the month, June 25th or something. That's like June. Same thing as golf. Yeah. So there's that. I kind of touched on Paper Mario, not too much, since I was playing a lot of Chrono Trigger. Wanted to wrap that up, but it's been going well. I have to turn in back to the library next week, so I might not be really too far into it, but I played like maybe a couple hours into it. I can understand why Donnie played a lot more of it, because it's a very Mario game. Like there's a lot of, just all about the Mario atmosphere and all the little characters and everything. I think it's cute and everything. The combat, like even for me, like after 2 hours, I'm like, all right, this is stale. This is like not going anywhere. I'm not getting power-ups or anything. It is
not like Chrono Trigger.
It's not like Chrono Trigger whatsoever. It's very surface level. I think it's still a cute story, though. I like the puzzles. I think it's one of those good, just popcorn, comfortable games, if you're really into those. I think it's really well made from a production standpoint. But the gameplay, it's not like my style, or it's just for someone that just wanted to get into a Mario game. That's gonna be the game for you.
Right.
I might like rent it again because it seems really easy to get the game back, and I get it for like 3 weeks, so I'm sure I'll be able to like just play it bits and pieces every now and then. But it's definitely not going to be a priority for me. I want to.
Wait, didn't Donnie say that was a game that he didn't even finish? Like he just played like a bunch of it, and he felt like that was enough.
Correct. Yeah, he just he played like almost to the end, and I think
and then just stopped.
He did not play the end. I think it was like 30 or 40 hours, and he was like, "No, I'm done. I'm tired of this game."
So you can kind of see now why That's why he did that. Like it's
Yes.
kind of a game just to experience, but not necessarily like a must finish type game.
Right. And granted, I need to go into other worlds and the other lands and stuff. I haven't hit a boss yet. But just like playing the combat, I don't know, a handful of times, it's just so service level boring to me. So I don't know. It seems fine.
Okay.
But yeah, that's pretty much it for me.
You've played more than I have. I'm hoping to get back into gaming soon. Once I'm done this project, once like I have some more free time, I want to start Metroid Prime 2.
Okay.
And I want to I bought Mass Effect Trilogy for PS5 or PS4. I want to play that.
Oh, the Legacy.
So yeah,
whatever.
the Legendary Edition.
Oh, Legendary Edition.
I've been sitting on that. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
You have to also. We have a lot of stuff to play. We have to play that. We have to play Golden Sun.
Okay, no, let's set a date. When are we starting Golden Sun? Because we could start playing it
whenever my summer starts. Anytime after that.
Okay.
Anytime after E3.
Sounds good. I could do that.
Tell me. Let's get into this week in Nintendo. Finally, Nintendo confirms their E3 date. It's not too surprising that they're going to be having their presentation on Tuesday, June 15th at 12 o'clock p.m. Eastern, which is usually, I think, the time slot that they have it. They're having a 40-minute long direct featuring Switch software that's releasing mostly in 2021, they said. RIP 3DS. And following that is going to be a 3-hour-long Treehouse Live featuring gameplay. Now, I noticed that they haven't said, like, a lot of the times they'll say featuring mostly Breath of the Wild or mostly Smash Ultimate or something. They didn't come out and say anything like that, so we really don't have any titles that we know for sure are going to be in this. They didn't even say anything about Treehouse. We have a lot of questions about what we think, what we hope. But do you have anything general about like their time slot or what, is 40 minutes? Is that kind of what you were expecting?
This is the most like Nintendo anticipated thing I've ever seen. Everyone called it. That is June 15th. Everyone called that. It's going to be at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, I think. It's just what they do every year. And 40 minutes seem about the same length that they've done every year, right? Like that's probably the E3
I think
presentation.
2019 was 40 minutes. One of them was short. I think the year before that was 20 minutes when they were showing Smash. I think they can pack a lot of stuff into 40 minutes. And the fact that they're not like saying mostly featuring a certain game, like it's not like a whole big chunk of time, I think is going to be taken into like one certain game. So I think that's a good sign.
Yeah, we're going to have a lot of information in 40 minutes. I remember what was the last direct. They just go one after the other. They have a nice flow to it, and it's very compact, a very dense direct. So
they're good at that.
I'm looking forward to it.
Now, they say featuring Switch software.
Yeah.
Meaning no Switch Pro announcement during E3?
Oh, there's not going to be a Switch Pro. guys, there's no hardware announcement at E3. Yeah. Let's repeat that. There's no hardware announcement at E3. I think
we suspected that before this announcement, but I'm glad that they said that. And there's still people that are going to be expecting it, as always. But, just for them to say that it's going to be exclusively software announcements, I think, we'll kind of talk people off of that ledge that, we're only talking about games here. And it's interesting to me that they say mostly in 2021. So there could be, games here or there that I think might be next year titles, but I think most of what we're going to see will be released this year, right?
Yep. Later in the fall, later in the holiday, which we kind of suspected, right? We don't have we have Skyward Sword and we have Mario Golf for the summer, but
do we know anything after Skyward Sword in July?
Honestly, I don't think so from first party. So we gotta, except for Pokemon, we gotta have something.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, we do have Pokemon, and do you think that they'll, for the Treehouse Live, I feel like the Pokemon Diamond and Pearl will be showcased in Treehouse? Do you think usually they show some kind of Pokemon footage during that 3 hours?
Most likely, yeah. I mean, it is a long time, 3 hours. I think like what they're gonna what they show in the direct is what they mostly show in the Treehouse Live as well. So I mean, Pokemon is possible. I would say it's definitely possible, but I wouldn't say it's like 100% certain it's in the Treehouse.
Yeah. I kind of like that they're not telling us anything, that it's all left up to surprise.
They're all cryptic. They've been holding this Switch Pro announcement with no hints whatsoever. They know how to.
Yeah.
They really know how to play us. So
They know how to string us along.
exactly.
We have lots of questions about this, so let's jump into those. I tried to kind of organize them a little bit. So TPR wants to know, given that this slate of E3 run to Nintendo was described by them as being predominantly 2021 game releases, what do you think are the most likely previously unannounced frontrunners for their E3 Direct that will release this year? So, I mean, they've given us like a couple things that are 2022, right? Like we know RCS Legends is 2022. Right. We know Splatoon 3 is 2022. So it's possible that they could show those things, but I mean, you're right. We don't know much about what else is this year. I feel like we know more about what's next year than this year.
No, I totally agree with that. Like, again, we just know Mario Golf and then Pokemon and then Skyward Sword HD. So we're going to have to know, they're going to have to announce a lot of new games or indie release dates too that's coming out this year to really fill that gap. And it's very nice. It's going to be 40 minutes. So I don't know. It's going to be a lot of games, I think, that's going to be coming out this year.
Do you think we finally see our rumored 2D Metroid game?
Oh, I hope so. I mean, that's what people are counting on and betting on. I know there's a lot of leaks that, go on with a lot of Nintendo related content, including the Switch Pro, but people like have a reasonable expectation. Of course, it's entirely possible to have that 2D Metroid. We've been hearing leaks, but if it's not going to be showing up, it's going to be okay. It's really okay. I'm sure they're going to pack in with a lot of exciting games in there. But yeah, I certainly hope the 2D Metroid's in there.
I mean, think of it this way. Like, I don't think we should expect a first-party game every single month from July to December. But I think it's reasonable to think, okay, we'll probably get something for like September-ish, right?
Yeah.
We'll probably get like something other than Pokemon for November, December-ish, right? I mean, I feel like there has to be that last holiday game they haven't said. So I feel like we could get at least 2 big announcements that are coming.
I'm really thinking Fire Emblem remake of some kind will be in. Ryan actually logically put it out when I did the RPG Cave. He thinks September because that's normally the month that Three Houses did as well. It seems like a perfect month that's in between, out of the summer, but also out of the holiday time frame. And I'm sure that's ready in the pipeline. It's ready to go. That's one game I'll be disappointed if it's not there. It's a Fire Emblem game.
Like it's time. Don't they normally have some kind of Fire Emblem something at E3?
Yeah, it's normally.
It seems time for it.
So.
Yeah, so I think at least 2 things.
Yeah.
What they are, who knows?
We'll see.
Ryan Mathman wants to know what omission from Nintendo's E3 would be most heartbreaking. He wants to know, how do you handle expectations and eventual disappointments? I did a E3 prediction stream this past Sunday, and he was coming and saying, guys, lower your expectations. I'm going in expecting nothing, Ryan says. What omission? I mean, I'm not going to lie. I'm not expecting it, but I'll still somewhat be disappointed if we don't hear a single thing about Breath of the Wild 2.
Okay.
It's so hard for me to like say whether I think they will or not, but I'm really hoping we get some kind of update. It's been long enough. Like, even if the game, is next year or even beyond, who knows? Like, just give us like a little something. Give us like a little trailer or like some kind of teaser or something. I want my Zelda news, and that's just my Zelda bias. So personally, that omission would break my heart a little bit.
When is the last time we did Breath of the Wild 2? The first trailer, right? In 2019?
That's all that we have, unless you the last direct that they had in February, they just said like, we're still hard at work on it. Here's Skyward Sword.
Okay. Yeah. I could see Breath of the Wild 2 most likely will have a trailer, and I can get that. If they don't show any Zelda in the direct, though.
Yeah, no Zelda at all for 35th anniversary. That would be so sad.
that would probably be the worst. I would even be disappointed. It's like, wait, where's the Zelda in this? But yeah, what I said before, Ryan, I really think a Fire Emblem game's coming out, and like if it doesn't get announced here, I think I'll be I mean, yeah, I'll be a little bit disappointed if I don't hear anything Fire Emblem related. That's just my jam. I just love that type of stuff, and I really loved the Fire Emblem remake on 3DS, Echoes. That was one of my favorite Fire Emblem games, actually, and I love them going back to these because it's actually simpler systems, but with a fresh coat of paint. And it's just like, this is exactly what I want. Like give me more of these like simpler type of tactics. Don't give me all these partners and babies and choices and everything. Just make it as simple as you can and just go forward with it. So yeah.
Zenith wants to know if you could go back in time and demo one already released game on Treehouse at E3, which game would you pick and who would you want to be in the Treehouse with you? That's a good question. I always like how they show. I always watch the Treehouse with the gameplay. They usually show, obviously more of what you would see in a normal trailer because you're seeing what they're actually playing, like actual gameplay. I mean, what I wouldn't give to be one of the first ones to play Breath of the Wild 1.
Right?
I think they did do Treehouse for that that first year, right? Before the game came out.
Oh man, that's been so long ago.
I think they did.
I don't remember much between that. Man, that's a good question. I didn't even look at this question before, but the first game that pops in my head in the Treehouse, actually, and what really caught my eye was Luigi's Mansion 3. And seeing that game for the first time in actual gameplay instead of the trailer, I was like, okay, this game looks so good and the characters are very lively, and I love being just there, and like would love to see how the game runs for the first time there. And
that's a good one.
Give me Reggie right next to me, man. Like,
yeah, oh my gosh.
I would just love to talk to that guy while I play Luigi's Mansion. That would be a dream come true. No joke. It would be a dream come true for that.
Oh, the other thing, going back to our first question, what do we think it for a 2021 game release? We the Age of Calamity expansion pass is supposed to release this month, but we don't know anything. I feel like they're
coming out this month.
I mean, they already have the pre-order bonus for it that you can download.
Okay,
so
good.
I'm thinking that it'll either be like an out now type of announcement or like a soon after, like maybe the week after type of thing.
Okay.
Where they kind of detail it. That's like my solid prediction that like I feel pretty confident about.
Like there will be content with Age of Calamity, more of an out now or out next week type of deal. Okay, cool. I would be down with that. I don't know if I would ever go back to it, but I would like to see it.
There was a glitch or something where if you changed your region to Australia, you could download the pre-order bonus and you would get the expansion pass one for free. And a lot of people took advantage of that. I couldn't do it until I got home from work, and by that time they had already fixed it. So a lot of people actually got the expansion pass for free. I don't know if I'm lucky people. As much as I liked Age of Calamity, I don't really see myself going back to that game either. I feel like I had my fun with it already.
Yeah, unless they do some sort of patch with Switch Pro, and when that comes out, I probably won't go back to it.
Yeah. Ante wants to know, what is your pre-E3 or pre-direct ritual? Do you have a nice breakfast or dinner, prepare some drinks, pop open some beers? Do you have any rituals for E3?
What I used to do is take off work and like make sure I'm prepped for the day. Like I would have a good breakfast, I guess, and then just be on the computer, just stuck on there. I would normally have all the conferences ready to go on one screen, and then I would have my show/podcast video game I would turn to. Normally that's either Borderlands 2 or Diablo 3. One of those games that you could just, you don't need the sound, but you just have some content off to the side. And that's how I normally do my E3 rituals. There's like constant E3 stuff, plus the conferences, and then a video game off to the side. What about you? Yeah.
So I really only started watching E3s when I was in college, and by that time I was home from college and not working. So I would just be home and like I wouldn't have to worry about taking off of work or taking off of school or anything like that to watch them. So what I would do is put it like up on my TV, like, you know, have it in my living room, because my dad was invested in the Zelda stuff too, so he would want to watch if there was anything Zelda related.
Oh, that's cool.
So I would kind of like, you know, this is my day, you know, it's I'm taking the living room for this afternoon. Nowadays, now that I'm no longer in college and I'm working and whatnot, like I don't even know what I'm gonna do this year. Like I'm trying to swing, like, can I take a half day or something, because it is like the second to last day of school.
Oh man, that's so close.
I'm trying to figure out some way that I can you know, watch it live. I need to, but I don't really have any like rituals that I do now, just besides just trying to figure out how to watch it.
Yeah, I hear other people, they would like to do live watch alongs with other people, and it's kind of cool sometimes with the voice chat. I'm more of a guy or a person that likes to do it alone. I don't know if that's I hide chat. I hide everything else, and I just focused on the show, unless there's a lot of different fluff like the Xbox show or whatever. I normally am exclusively focusing on it without any other thing distracting me.
2 years ago, it was the last day of school at the job I was at when Nintendo was on. So I was watching it while I was at work at my computer, like hoping nobody would walk in to interrupt it. That was when we had the Animal Crossing reveal announcement, the Breath of the Wild 2 announcement. That was that year.
Man,
So I don't want to have to do that again. I want to be home and like just be comfortable. Are you and Donnie live reacting to it? Was that
that's
decided?
the plan? Yes,
It is the plan. So if I would really want to join you if I can.
Yeah, I mean,
I hope
of
I
course. If you can come in, if you need, just pull up your phone. We'll send you the chat link, and we'll be ready to go. It's like just for
I'm gonna swing it somehow.
Just for those 40 minutes, you could we could just see it.
We'll see.
Sounds good.
We'll see. Keep it hush hush. We had a couple questions. Yarden and Gags both wanted to know, what's your realistic and your dream one more thing announcement for this year?
Oh, realistic and your dream.
And dream. So are these two things, like one realistic, one dream one?
Yeah, I think that's what it means. Oh man. I'm not too sure.
I have one. I think I have one for, I guess, realistic. And I'm verbally, like, I know I have said this isn't realistic, but like I feel like I'm changing my vibe with this one, that it could be realistic, maybe, who knows. Is a Mario Kart 9 for a one more thing.
Okay.
I feel like that would make a really good one more thing with how much people are wanting it. I don't know if really that is in the realistic territory or not. But it's more realistic than my dream one that I'm going to say.
I mean, we are speculating now more and more Mario Kart 9 these days. I can still see it as a dream, though. Like, I don't think a Mario Kart 9 would still be at a E3, but who knows?
Who knows?
That one more thing would be really cool. My dream one more thing, and it's definitely not going to be this year, but I would just blow my mind if I see the logo, Xenoblade Chronicles 3.
Ooh.
Fall 2022 or something like that.
That's not. I feel like that's realistic. I think that could happen.
That could happen, but like I don't know with Monosoft. They go all over the place. They support a bunch of different games and everything.
Well, they're pretty big. They could be working on lots of different projects.
Yeah, that's true. Sean just said I'm crazy, and you're correct, Sean. I am crazy.
Piper got it with what my dream one is. You guys know my dream game is a Zelda Dungeon Maker. That would be my dream one more thing. That is, I will talk about that forever, how much I want that game to exist. If that does happen, I will.
Would you pay $60 for Zelda Dungeon Maker?
I would pay $200 for Zelda Dungeon Maker.
You would pay a Switch Lite.
If it was everything, like if it's like Mario Maker and has those kind of features and options, and it's not like the Link's Awakening one, don't talk about that. If it's actually like Mario Maker, this is my game.
I'll be down.
I will be there. I will be a dead Rebecca.
Yeah. Steven says Donkey Kong Switch.
That's realistic.
That's a definitely realistic one,
Yes.
and we're still speculating if it's 2D or 3D.
I see them opening the show with this, to be honest with you.
That could be it. It's either going to be a Super Smash Bros. Character or a Donkey Kong.
Yeah, you're right. Smash will probably open the show.
I would love to see a Donkey Kong. I think it's gonna be 2D most likely, but it would be surprising to see 3D and see what they could do with 3D.
I think isn't the only reason why people are saying it could be 3D is because there's a rumor that the Mario Odyssey team is working on it.
That's correct. Yeah. Yeah.
But like, who's to say they can't? They could do a 2D game, right?
Yeah, they could do a 2D game or a 3D game. We're just gonna have to see. But this Donkey Kong game, there has to be a Donkey Kong game. Like that's
been like,
one
what,
game.
7 years.
That and like they've been not making any Donkey Kong games, mainline Donkey Kong games for a really long time. The original, like original Nintendo Studios. So
yeah,
I would just like to see have that character its due for Nintendo, like many other franchises.
It's the 40th anniversary of Donkey Kong. It is the perfect time.
Yeah. People know Donkey Kong, unlike Metroid and F-Zero and stuff like that.
Metroid who? Yeah. Anything else about Nintendo's E3? I'm so excited.
I'm very excited to see this. I'm super excited to be with Donnie and get all the reactions, and we're gonna just drag Rebecca and put her on a phone camera during school hours, during work hours, and
I'm gonna attempt to be home. I'm sick. I have a doctor's appointment.
Good. Have a fever or something.
I'm ill. I can't come.
Put the thermometer on the light bulb. That's what happened.
There you go. I feel like with E3, obviously the entire event, all of the days are exciting, and maybe I'm biased, but Nintendo's to me is always the most exciting. It's all leading up to that. I feel like they consistently bring the most exciting things to the table. Maybe I'm biased in saying that, but it's like Christmas to me, Garrett. I'm so excited.
Very excited.
Some other exciting news that I think the nerd in me is hype about. An official Nintendo Gallery Museum is set to open in Japan. Nice. They're going to be using this gallery as a way to share with the public Nintendo's product development history and philosophy. They're planning to open by March 2024, so it's a few years away, but I feel like I've always been saying they should have a Nintendo museum. I know they kind of have something up in Nintendo New York. I've never been there, but it's like a mini museum where they have some things on display, but I've always thought they should come up with like a huge museum. They have tons of stuff that they could put on here. Yeah. And they're calling it Nintendo Gallery, but it's a museum.
Got it. Did you know that this the museum that they're making is the old trading card factory?
Yeah. Do you have the name of I didn't put it here, the plant that they are using for it? They're like repurposing this like warehouse, this plant that they already have.
Yeah, let me look it up.
That you're right, that they manufactured the cards for a long time. Like there's some history here behind this location.
Yeah, I mean, they originally made Nintendo trading cards there. That was the old plant. Let's see here. Set to open.
I should have written it down.
And companies, sorry, it's the Nintendo Yuji Ogura plant.
Okay.
It's a current plant that they're turning into a facility called the Nintendo Gallery. Cool. Share its philosophy with the public. So that will be interesting.
Remember all those times that we were saying, like, we wish we had a little glimpse into, why they do this, what they did about that kind of thing. And this could potentially be that in museum form. Yeah. I'm a nerd. I would much rather go to a museum than an amusement park, which I know a lot of people were excited about Super Nintendo World or whatever, which is also cool. This is going to be in Kyoto, so I may have to plan a trip to Japan in 2024 to see
Nintendo Shack to Japan 2024.
Yeah, let's do it.
I'd be totally down to go to Japan sometime. What I really hope for with this museum and hopefully other museums in general going forward, we got virtual reality. Let's make virtual tours and realities like kind of thing happen.
Yeah.
I would love to see like some sort of digital kind of tour or stream. You buy the tickets and it's going to be a premium type of experience. I can imagine
Mhm.
a camera being on a robot slowly going through like a museum, and maybe you can control the robot or something.
Ooh,
I
that
don't
would be
know.
cool.
I'm just thinking of like people who are really remote, and like,
Yeah.
people in the US would love to see this type of like things in this Nintendo museum.
It's a big
Um,
trip a lot of people can't take or can't
yeah,
afford to take, and, this kinda thing is awesome.
yeah, it's a lot of money.
I like that idea.
So I would love to see this. It's cool to see Nintendo finally, after many decades, showing kind of part of their history. And I'm wondering how open they're gonna be with it. It's still
Mhm.
definitely gonna be tailored, and they're gonna guard all their secrets or whatever that we actually find leaks and data mining or whatever. But hopefully, we'll find a lot of cool insight of the early days of Nintendo, and see all the different like now artifacts now. And I'm glad
Mhm.
it's getting recorded in some form or fashion. It's not going to be lost in development history or whatever. It's some type of recording of Nintendo's history. So I'm very
Mhm, and they
excited.
have a lot of history to tell too.
Yeah.
G-Man wants to know, with Nintendo opening a museum in Japan, makes me excited for what they have planned. What sort of items do you think will be there? Like costumes, mascots, puppets, you name it. Well, when he said puppets, I immediately thought of several things. First of all, the E3 puppets. I think we were just talking
Yes.
about like where are those? Are they in a drawer somewhere? Does some collector have them? Of who was it? Iwata,
Hmm.
Reggie, Miyamoto. Was it those three?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
I'm
I
sure they're
don't
in a warehouse somewhere in
like those
Japan.
should be on display. They're like a moment in Nintendo's history.
Yeah.
Same thing with like a lot of those bizarre commercials. Like just he keeps saying puppet, like that Link's Awakening puppet from that
Hmm.
commercial back in the 90s. Yeah, costumes, like just things that Nintendo has done over the ages, like things that there's just one of. Who knows where those are now?
Hmm.
Little pieces of their history that I, think they should immortalize and embrace. And like, I would love to see them in person.
These things don't have to be expensive. I'm sure Nintendo can go back to their warehouses where they stored a lot of stuff, and it's like, oh, here's a random marketing flyer from from
Yeah.
1993 or something like that. This is worth nothing, but if we put it in a museum, people will love it. And it's like, of course, put it in
Those
there. We find
employee
it super interesting.
training kits
Yeah,
that they to stores in the 90s, like they sent like stores these kits on how to sell Nintendo
yeah,
products in the 90s, and it would have things like hats, like brochures, like all this crazy stuff for employees, like Kmart employees to sell to the public because Nintendo wanted it a certain way. And like those have to be out there somewhere. Put those in a museum. That's part of their history. I would absolutely want to visit this museum if I ever get the chance to someday,
yeah,
especially if it's
yeah.
good. Like you said, if they do some kind of digital thing, even better. I can see all of it. I would
Hmm.
love to go someday, actually physically, but yeah, I'm the nerd in me is really excited about this. I got pretty pumped about that.
That'll be one of my go-to tourist spots if I
Mhm.
ever plan a trip to Japan. I would love to see this
Yep,
museum.
right in Kyoto too.
Nice.
All right. Crisis Remastered Trilogy was announced. There
Yeah.
is no release date yet. The only thing I know about that game is y'all like to say, can it run Crisis?
And apparently it can. Wait, did Donnie play it? I forgot
I don't
if
know.
Donnie okay.
He
I'm gonna
probably did.
he probably did, but I'm not gonna go into it more. I just know I- we'll see how it runs on Switch. I'm more interested how if they have a Switch Pro and there's a Pro patch out there.
Mhm.
Interested to see how that looks handheld wise. It's not really too big to see it. To see the other two games coming, but hopefully it runs pretty well and hopefully better than what we've seen with the Crisis Remastered so far on Switch. So yeah, that's pretty much
Yeah.
it.
Nintendo would like to know if you would buy a new WarioWare game for $50. They sent out a survey to people. I didn't get this survey, by the way,
Me
but
neither.
apparently I've been seeing it pop up on my feed. People have been getting a survey stating, "Would you buy a new WarioWare game?" In the survey, the cost varied from person to person, somewhere between $30 to the $60 range. So each person got a different amount. How likely would you be to buy WarioWare at this price? I don't know if there was more to the survey than just that question. That seems kind of odd just to put that, just that question. Was there more, I would assume?
I think it was a screenshot of one of the questions, and that was it. Yeah.
But they asked specifically about this game and specifically at a price point, which on one hand, I really love WarioWare, and that was one of the things I've been hoping that they might announce at E3 this year. But if they're just gauging interest now, I feel like that's a little bit maybe they're still trying to decide type of thing.
Yeah, especially like thinking about price. I'm not too sure why, other than like getting some sort of statistics out there for random people buying their games, is like, okay, what do you gauge WarioWare as a franchise? Do you think of it as a $40 game or a $60 game? And that's one of the rare instances where they do that. Normally, right, we think of first party games, it's $60. It's not going to be really anything else. But it looks like here they're just trying to gauge of like how much can we get out of a certain price, and what's the development cycle for that? Because a WarioWare game doesn't necessarily need to have high production costs and in return have a high cost in general, $60 game or anything like that. It could be $40 and just be just as successful or even more. Now it's $40.
It's interesting because I don't really consider WarioWare to be a handheld title, like a handheld franchise. Our last game was WarioWare Gold for the 3DS, but I feel like other than that, well, there were a couple of them on the DS, I guess. But the ones that I've played were on console. So we had Smooth Moves on the Wii, we had Game & Wario on the Wii U, so it's on both really. So it is kind of odd to think about like where it would be priced, because it's not one of their like A-tier games,
right?
I feel like it doesn't really have a following that that obviously Mario has. But you're right, I feel like we automatically assume most first party Switch games are going to be $60 at this point, so that could be interesting that they're gauging interest in other prices.
Do you think that if they would make a new WarioWare game, even though they sent out the survey, do you still think it's going to be $60, or do you think they would try to shoot for less?
Just based on their Switch game history, I feel like it's going to be $60. It's probably a good thing that I didn't get the survey because if they asked me if I would buy it at $60, I would have said yes. I would buy it no matter what, but I know that's not the case for everybody. I mean, do they sell more copies at $40 or less copies at $60? It's a business decision that they take pretty seriously, I guess. And if they're going to sell more at $40, why wouldn't they? Right.
For sure. I think WarioWare is one of those test games of a first party, of their first party franchises that they can do this and still be really successful at what they do with it. And I'm glad that Nintendo, with this franchise, if they go a little bit lower on the production side in return being $40, but still have that same game. It's going to be a WarioWare game. It's going to have the same type of mini games, or even better, more creative, like the last few games. But more people are going to enjoy it because they can swallow $40 instead of $60. So I'm pretty optimistic about it. I think I won't buy a $60 WarioWare game just because I know what the Warrior games are, and I know I wouldn't spend more than maybe 2 hours on a WarioWare game, and that's just me. I would be more swallowing like a $40 or a $30 type of WarioWare game versus $60. But that's just my personal.
Hyper in chat brings up a good point. Has Nintendo released a game at $40 on the Switch? Was Fitness Boxing $40 or $50? I don't think it was $60.
Oh, I don't know about Fitness Boxing. I'm trying to think if they, gosh, did they do a $40 game? I'm trying to think of a $40 game that's first party. They've done DLC by itself with Xenoblade Chronicles. That was, I think, $25 or $30. Went to Switch was $60. I actually don't think they've ever. Ahoy Adam says Captain Toad. That was $40. That is a 3DS port.
port, yeah. Huh.
But it's a $40 game versus Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze or anything like that. That was still $60.
So yeah,
or
I
50.
guess there's some kind of precedent for that. I mean, if it was a port of like WarioWare Gold for $60, I wouldn't.
Gosh.
Because I played that
don't
on
do
3DS.
that.
And it was pretty short as far as WarioWare games go.
Mm-hmm.
But if it was a brand new WarioWare game, yeah, I'm there.
Yeah, I would be down to see one.
Right. Most people aren't me. Most people wouldn't buy it at $60. So, yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
I hope that doesn't mean we won't get a new announcement for it at E3 this year.
Mm-hmm.
Really want one, but
Mm-hmm.
I can wait.
I got a couple of extra items at the end of the section. I didn't put them on the notes, but I just haven't had time to like really look into it. There are Neo, The World Ends With You previews out. So if you want to check that out, go to IGN, go to GameSpy, go to all. They have a lot of different previews of that game that's supposed to come out the end of the month of July. So those are out, and I'm really interested in looking into it. I just haven't had time to look into it at all. And I know there's been recent Mario Golf, more information out there. We specifically didn't look into it. I'm so sorry, Donnie. But there's still not online tournament play described in any of these previews. So
that's messed up.
Yeah, the clock is ticking and we don't have online tournaments. That's going to... I hope we could just like easily Jimmy rig something together that doesn't have to have...
Like that's the reason why I want to play it. Like that's why I wanted to get the game so I could play with you guys.
That's why I want to spend the $60 and just play with everyone at PSVG asynchronously, like what we did on 3DS. So I don't know.
That's a bummer if it's not, but maybe it's one of those things that they show at E3. Who knows?
Oh man, if they do show at E3, like Mario Golf in general, they just better have online tournament play. If they don't have anything to show with Mario Golf, they don't.
Yeah, I would be kind of disappointed if they showed Mario Golf as just like one last boost to advertise it and not have something new like that, like something that we want, like the online tournaments.
You'll definitely need new characters or a new, like online play of some kind to really incentivize some showtime of Mario Golf into this Nintendo E3 Direct. We'll see.
Do you think that gets a gameplay demo at Treehouse?
I think so. I think that can easily fit into the 3-hour. They normally do recent games on that Treehouse Live and anything that's on the Direct that has gameplay. So I really think Mario Golf is definitely a possibility.
I think so, especially as a push, especially if they don't show it during the Direct, just to kind of give it a push to sell, because it's coming out the next week or two, right?
Yeah, it's very soon. It's like 2 weeks, and then it's out.
All right. Well, that wraps up our news for this week. We have lots of questions about the Switch Pro. People are still talking about it.
Of course,
let's start
guys.
with some Switch Pro questions before we get to the last few. Let's start off with Carlos wanted to know, there are so many rumors going around about the Switch Pro. Do you think it's going to be announced at all before E3, or will it be announced later in the year, like during its September Direct? He also wants to know if we think it will meet expectations or not end up being a big difference from the current model.
Well, I think we know a lot about the Pro. It's just in terms of just like what it is and what the screen's going to be like. We don't know what the form factor is going to be. I think I'll answer the second question first. It's going to be a difference in terms of power, in terms of just like the resolution and the technical side of it is going to be much better. I think the battery life's going to be much better. I think everything is just going to be better and more enhanced. And technically is it's going to be, I think, a bigger jump than the base PS4 or PS4 Pro. It's going to be a little bit higher jump than that, especially with that DLSS. But in terms of like a different, like, let's say is it going to be like the Switch 2? Is it going to be like a completely different proprietary games that can't be on the regular Switch? No, it's going to be in the same Switch family, of course. But yeah, timing, don't expect anything right now, guys. We keep hearing leaks over and over again.
It's getting exhausting.
It's really exhausting. It was Thursday. then it was Tuesday, then it was today on Thursday. It's
And
very
now they're saying June 4th tomorrow that pre-orders are gonna open. We didn't even get an announcement. They can't announce it on a Friday, can they?
They can, but I'm just so tired of like people leaking out and hinting us like, hey, this is gonna be it. This is gonna be the day. And then like during that day or the day after, it's like, well, we didn't say 100% certain. I'm just the leaker. I'm just leaking information. And then
They want the clout.
when they get it right, they're like, see, guys, we're right. And I'm like, okay, so I say it's gonna be close. It can be before E3. It can be after E3, and it's not going to be during E3. It'll if I'm going to be the big massive leak there is, it's going to be any day this month. How about that? It's going to be any day this month. You hear it right here, folks. I think I'm right versus the other leakers over here.
So when it happens on June 30th, see, I was right.
Exactly. That's where I'm going to go with. What about you? What are you thinking?
I don't know. Like, I feel you're right. With each passing leak that's wrong, I feel like I doubt more and more and more. I feel like since it wasn't this week, I know the week's not over yet. It's probably not going to be soon. I really did think that they were going to show it off before E3, before their presentation, and I guess they still can. And especially because they're saying that their presentation is focusing on software. The way I thought it was going to play out was that they would announce it, then they would take the presentation to like show, oh, by the way, like this is how this game is going to, because they're not going to talk about hardware during E3. We already knew that. They're not going to use that precious time to talk about specs and stuff that the masses don't care about that much. That's something they could save for a totally different presentation. So that's how I thought they were going to play it out, and showcase, well, this is what the games are going to look like on the Switch Pro, or whatnot, or be, even God forbid they say, and this game is going to be a Switch Pro exclusive or something.
Yeah.
But it doesn't seem to be that will be the case. I think it would be kind of just weird for them to announce it afterwards, but it's looking like that could happen at this point.
I really think it's a possibility it's going to be after, and that's totally fine. Not showcasing it at E3. I don't think. I know they want to showcase how well visually it's going to look and everything with their games, but they definitely don't want to alienate the Switch audience. That's just how I think of it. Is like if you have the Switch Pro kind of shining and showcasing on E3 show floor, it's like, well, is my Switch Lite that I just got last year in November, is it kind of obsolete now? It kind of is.
That's a good point, because you're right. Most of the people watching this presentation aren't like us. We're like, they might not upgrade, or you're right, they might feel like, oh, well, what's really in this presentation for me if there's better hardware?
Yeah, and I think it's really for the people, the Switch Pro, I think is going to be either tech savvy, very like people who can afford the income, and also just us that are really into this type of things, like into the system. We want it day one. They already got us sold, even if they announce it after E3. You heard it with Donnie. He is so excited for the system. It doesn't matter when this is announced. So I think, I mean, so that's why I think it's totally possible to have it after E3. But yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Yep. Adam wants to know, if the Switch Pro gets announced soon, do you think we'll get a Legend of Zelda themed Switch Pro, since it's the 35th anniversary of the Legend of Zelda? And this is where I am so conflicted, because no, I don't think our initial announcement will have a special edition. I think if we do get some kind of special edition, especially for Zelda, it will be later on, which makes it hard for me, because do I wait for a potential special edition Zelda? Do I like get it right away and then sell it? Like, it's so hard. Do they ever really show off special editions at announcement?
Not at announcement, and not like it. I've never seen it firsthand with launch. I think I've never seen it with launch. Maybe the 3DS XL with the Mario and Luigi Dream Team. I don't know if that's right. It's at least a few months apart with the new 3DS XL Majora's Mask.
Yeah.
That was at least 4 or 5 months apart from the original design. So I
Yeah, because
doubt.
I wouldn't want to get the base, the base model if
Yeah.
if there's a shiny special edition.
Yeah, they'll definitely, once they announce this thing, it's gonna be basic design and color. And then once that's out, or maybe close to that, they may announce a Switch Pro. I'm thinking Breath of the Wild 2, and I still think there's a 35th Zelda. Well, they have Joy-Cons, but it's believable that they'll have a Switch, regular Switch 35th
For Breath of the
anniversary as well.
Wild, do you think? Oh gosh.
It could be.
I need it.
We'll-
I might
we'll see it.
hold off. I don't know. It's probably going to be spur of the moment when they announce it if I'll get it or not. I think we have a question related to that actually.
Sounds good.
Well, let me skip ahead to that one and then I'll go back. Ricky
Okay.
wants to know, what would it take for both of you to get the new Nintendo Switch? What
Hmm.
features are you most looking forward to or most important to you?
So, yeah, I think what would it take? It's for me, it's a few things. It's the OLED screen is a huge grab for me. I think it's also just how the games improve compared to our Switch now. If it's a huge jump, if I see true difference with new games and maybe existing games without any like update or anything like that, I'm more convinced to get the new Switch. If I don't see much improvement with existing games that much, I don't know. Like, I don't know if I would need it day one until there's a good library of new games that take advantage of the
Right.
Switch Pro. I love Bluetooth, so Bluetooth is a
Mm.
must-have for me, and then also form factor of this handheld device. That's probably the biggest features for me with the Switch Pro. Yeah, that's so. What about you?
Yeah, I care less about the graphics and stuff, as you know. Like that's like a cherry on top for me that
Yeah.
I can like play the games looking a lot nicer. But for me, yeah, I'm more about like the form factor type thing where I want it to be a little bit sleeker. Get rid of those black bezels so it has a bigger screen. But even more than that, I want those faster loading times. I want the better battery. Like you said, Bluetooth would be really nice. I am getting so sick of just like how long it takes to boot up some of these games. Like it really puts me off from playing some games, which is kind of sad. I know that sounds so pathetic. Like I don't have any patience at all to sit there, but it's I think something that the next Switch could easily do, and just that longer battery life, because I do like playing in handheld a lot.
Yeah.
Would be my most wanted features. And then I mean, obviously, if there's a really nice Zelda Special Edition, I'll probably
That's a
just
slam
upgrade
dunk for
anyway.
you.
Or any Zelda exclusive game. God forbid they do that.
I doubt they'll do it.
I doubt
but
they would do that.
Anything's
But,
possible.
Yeah. Jeez. Elias wants to know if the Switch Pro was announced before the podcast. No. How excited are you to stop having to speculate on the Switch Pro? If not, how much are you looking forward to not having to speculate on the Switch Pro once it's announced?
I mean, I think it's a matter of we know now. I'm done digging. Like I'm done speculating. I know what it is to a certain degree. I'm really just ready for leakers to stop with their timing stuff. That's the major thing.
It's
and
all
also just
Twitter talks about.
yeah, and Nintendo to just formally show us what this looks like. I really just want to know what it looks like now. I know its capabilities. I know what the screen's going to be like. But what about the Joy-Cons? What about the buttons on there? Are there any new buttons or new kind of mechanics with the Joy-Cons? Is there any Joy-Con drift with these ones? That's another big one. What is the dock? Like, what does that look like too?
A lot of unknowns.
That's what I think I'm most looking forward to. And hopefully after that, we don't have to speculate anymore.
Well, yeah. it's not that we're going to stop speculating. That I think it's going to move from speculation to we're still talking about it. We're talking about,
Yeah.
what it is, moving on to like when we're getting it, what the sales numbers are like, what about the games? Are they being updated? So it's not that we're going to stop talking about it. It's just that the discourse I think is going to change. So Switch Pro is not going anywhere on the Nintendo Shack podcast.
Do you think Nintendo's looking at Twitter or just looking at this buzz around Switch Pro, and they're like, hey, we can just like, wait a little more, right?
Logically, I want to say no. They don't care about what we're talking about on Twitter. They don't see it. But part of me does want to think, oh my God, like they were onto us. They knew we were going to announce it this week. Let's just put it off another week just to kind of screw with them.
yeah. I would like to think that's the case. I think they have a definite time frame to when they'll release, but then they'll just look at Twitter. It's like, all right, so they're thinking there's a lot of talking today. Maybe we just hold off a day and just like let it die down, and then we'll put it off at 2 a.m. and let it explode again.
Like I said, I feel like they carefully craft like when, Twitter is most active, like this is when we need to do it, to have the most eyeballs on it kind of thing, that kind of marketing. But then part of me also remembers that time, I think we just talked about this last week, where they tweeted the Chibi Robo like on fire type meme, like just because they knew people were talking about it. Like they see us, they know we're hungry for it. I mean, they have to see what's.
Wait, there's another one that recently came out actually, just before we.
Oh, wasn't there from Skyward Sword, the little Kikui that they tweeted? Yeah. Like they're
I don't know if that's a troll
at this point.
Wow.
Like they tweeted about Game Builder Garage, and all of the comments have to do with Switch Pro. Like, they have
okay, so they know. Of course, from the business sense of Nintendo, they don't care, but like from a social sense of what Nintendo is looking at, I feel like the
social media guys are having fun with it.
I bet they're laughing.
Oh, jeez. Adam wants to know, do you remember a world where there was no Switch Pro rumors?
It was before. I really, it all began with the Switch Lite and the Switch Pro together.
Even before that, I feel like the Switch Lite, like there were rumors that we were talking about it. I feel like every time that there's a console release, you're automatically always thinking about, well, what's next? What comes after this? Once we are comfortable with the Switch Pro and that releases, eventually, sooner or later, the discourse is going to turn into, okay, when is Nintendo's next console?
That's true. And I think it's just the timing of it. Like it's the same thing with their handhelds, right? With 3DS and 3DS XL, it was a 3-year gap. Now it's been more than 4 years with the Switch and on old chip hardware that is still in the thing. So I'm just like, I'm right there with a lot of people. It's like the Switch Pro, it's designed, it's there, it's ready to go. It's just, I'm just ready to that be announced and get on with our lives, and then we'll just speculate on the next thing. Just a year later, so
never ends.
it really never ends. I think I understand why Donnie's so excited for this. It's just a matter of the potential that Switch has from a technological standpoint with this, and how it could prolong the Switch life cycle to a very, very long time. I think where they're at ergonomically with a handheld and a console hybrid system is exactly where they need to be. And a Switch Pro is just gonna just prolong it and better enhance it in so many ways, and just become literally the staple of a system. Versus right now, Switch is very stable. I understand that, but we understand that it's gonna be expiring pretty soon. A lot with the games, they're struggling with third party. So it's just gonna be pretty good after a Switch Pro, I think.
And it's tough because you think, well, how can they put that good of hardware into such like a sleek handheld design type of thing? And I'll be really disappointed if they don't keep it the hybrid model, if they just make it a console, which it seems like they're going to keep the hybrid. But that would be like the one thing to disappoint me, is if like they didn't, because that just destroys the whole nature of the Switch as a concept, in my opinion. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I hope they can pull it off. And yeah, I just hope that we hear something soon, because it's getting exhausting.
Yeah, it definitely is. Soon.
Oh, I should have put this question with when we were talking about WarioWare. Lizette wanted to know, there is some WarioWare buzz. What are your thoughts? Is it coming to Switch?
What do you think?
I mean, like it's time. Like many other franchises that haven't gotten a game in quite a number of years, I feel like it's time. It seems like it would work perfectly on the Switch. It's one of my most wanted games right now that doesn't have an entry on the Switch already. It does concern me a little bit that they're asking about it, that it might not appear at E3, but I put it on my bingo card, so I still have hope.
I think it's totally possible still. That price thing with the survey, I'm sure they're just
They could set a price the day before, the day before they announce it.
exactly. I think they're just trying to scope what people think of what an expectation of a WarioWare game for their most avid like Nintendo Switch fans that would probably get this game. I have never played a WarioWare game, so can you describe me a little bit more? I know they're mini games, but like
they're hard to describe, and it's different with each game. But like the most common theme is there is an overlying story with Wario. They're usually very funny. They have like a whole cast of characters that are really good. Where it's kind of like broken up into levels, and the one that like I want to describe the best, because I know this game the best, is the one that was on the Wii, because it really took advantage of the like the Wii remote. Each game kind of takes advantage of that system's hardware, which makes it really cool. So with the Wii, like you would kind of do different things with the Wii remote. Like you might have to hold it on your hand to do the task, or you might have to like use it like a car and balance it. And it kind of goes faster and faster pace. And if you mess up, you lose a life. So you're kind of doing like whatever it prompts you to do on screen, like connect the dots real fast. And then it gets kind of like almost like like toilet humor at times kind of things, like
very grungy.
One of them has this like pick the nose hair out of Wario, and like you have to just do the thing with it, like you have like maybe 3 seconds to do it, and if you don't do it within those 3 seconds, you lose a life, and it gets faster and faster and faster. So it like throws those tasks at you in like mini game format.
That's really cool. I actually got introduced to WarioWare just a little bit. I remember it was, I really think so. It's Super Smash Brothers Brawl had a stage.
Yeah, the stage is like that.
Where it was all WarioWare stuff, where what you're describing is very like time kind of sensitive type of mini games. And in each of these games would affect like characters on the stage itself. Back then I just did not know that was a WarioWare game at all. So it's cool
they may be things like where it'll say like run to the finish line, and like you would have to use the Wii remote to like run in place kind of thing, or like don't fall off, and you would have to like balance on the ball for 3 seconds.
So do you think it's going to use a lot of motion control with this new WarioWare game?
Well, yeah, I mean, the one on Wii did, obviously, because that was the main gimmick of the Wii. And then for the ones that were on DS and 3DS, it used the touchscreen controls a lot. So with the Switch, maybe they're trying to figure out, well, how can we make this game so that both, Switch Lite users and, normal Switch users can enjoy it, because you're limited, obviously, with the Lite, with what you can do. You might not be able to use the touchscreen if you're having a docked kind of game. So maybe they're trying to figure out like what works for every Switch owner.
What games could apply for all of these for both systems. Definitely you can have gyro motion and control. The problem with that is a lot of us have also third-party Joy-Cons. So like I just think maybe WarioWare is going to be on the same level of requirement as maybe like a Mario Party, where you probably just need motion controls. You probably need your first party Switch controls, or a third party that supports motion control. They'll probably recognize it, because it sounds like you kind of need these, not gimmicky, but extra peripheral type of things in order to make the game work, which is totally fine.
I would love it because I think if they're going to lean into the Joy-Con thing, I think that would have been a better game than 1-2 Switch to show off the Switch's hardware. But I hope they can find a way to make it work. Kevin wants to know, do you think releasing Pokemon Legends Arceus 2 months after Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl is a good idea business-wise? We've never had two mainline Pokemon games released so closely.
That's a good question. Yeah.
Especially with Legends Arceus being so, I guess, experimental. Is that the right word?
I think so. I think experimental, something that they've never done before for a Pokemon franchise. And I don't believe they ever delayed a Pokemon game ever. So I don't expect them to delay these Pokemon games. And I've been thinking about this for a while, just like the timing of it and why they throw it out there. And I think we discussed a little bit on Shaq last week. Pokemon Legends Arceus is totally an experimental title that it's gonna be successful. It's gonna be successful in its own way, but it's mainly for Game Freak to figure out what works and what doesn't work with that type of system. Does open world work? Does this combat work? Does this lore type of, like, what systems work with Pokemon World and how everything comes together, and how can we apply it to new and different ideas for future Pokemon projects? I think that game is much more different than the previous mainline Pokemon games enough that it's fine to put it 2 months afterwards. And I think another big incentive behind this, it's all the same region. So think about, you're playing Diamond and Pearl, you're going to beat that game, you're going to buy this one, and it's going to kind of be like it's going to be like a prequel.
That's a good point.
It's all going to be based in that region, based in that lore, and it's going to be connecting with one another in a lot of different ways. So I think
that's
it's more
a really good point that I didn't think of, that they are connected, that they will kind of go hand in hand like that. For one, this is a Pokemon game. It's gonna sell just because it has the Pokemon logo on it. So I think they could release 10 Pokemon games back to back and they would all still sell, because that's what Pokemon fans do. They buy the games like hotcakes. Also, I think there's something to be said about how Diamond and Pearl are remakes. So for a lot of people, this isn't a new game to them. Where they've already experienced the story, the Pokemon, this is just better, like, graphics, really. So I think Legends is going to be the new Pokemon game that's coming out for a large portion of the audience. And I think the fact that we still don't know a whole lot about it, I'm sure they'll have some kind of other sales pitch for it that we just don't know yet.
I really hope they have more. I mean, it shouldn't be at E3. I don't think much Pokemon should be paid. Like, you pay attention to a lot of Pokemon at E3. It's going to be more by itself. Give me a Pokemon presentation sometime during the summer.
Every E3, they've done their own right before or after E3.
Okay, good.
Every single year for like the past 8 or 9 years. Joe Merrick talked about it on Twitter. As specifically said, like, in 2019 we had this, in 2018 we had this, in 2017 we had that. Like, every year they do their own thing right around this time.
Cool. I'm very excited to see more Arceus. Just I'm not gonna press more too much on the performance. I understand the performance is gonna be probably a big hit, especially on the Switch. That's fine. I just want to see the features. What do they have differently with this game that hopefully will help them work on or implement in future Pokemon titles? That's what I'm most looking forward to on this. And the lore. Pokemon lore is surprisingly really good. Even though I don't care much about the story itself, the lore of Pokemon, like animes, manga, it's all really in depth.
It's deep.
Yeah, hopefully they exploit that in this game.
I think so. I think this does have a lot of potential. So no, I don't think there's anything wrong with releasing it 2 months after those games. I don't think that's really going to affect much at all. And finally, Sammy Doom proposes to us, pick one game you would like each other to play. This is a game that you know the other person has never played. Well, you're already doing that with Chrono Trigger.
Okay. Is there another game?
You haven't played Undertale yet, have you?
I haven't. I've played the first 30 minutes of it, I think.
So that's my answer. It's another RPG, and it's unique. It's something that is unlike anything you have played before, but I think you will like it.
Cool. I'm super down to try it out, and I know
it's a lot shorter than Chrono Trigger.
I mean, I heard it's a lot shorter than a lot of other games.
Yeah.
You can beat it in one sitting. So I will play that sometime.
Yes.
I'll probably play on like a Friday night or Saturday night and just be good.
It might, well, depending on how long your play sessions are, it might not take you one sitting. It might take you 2 or 3.
Okay.
Depending on how much you do, especially there's you cannot spoil anything with Undertale, but there is an ending that adds a few hours to the game.
Okay.
I really recommend that you experience.
Okay. I will definitely try. I have Undertale on Steam, Game Pass. I think
if you can play, like I know you love your Game Pass, try to play it on PC if you can.
Oh yeah, no. I think it's on
PS.
Game Pass for PC as well. So
okay, that probably is fine. I mean,
that's
any
keyboard.
Fine.
That's keyboard.
That's
so
yeah.
Sounds good.
So for me, what am I playing?
I've been thinking a little bit about this. I was gonna say Fire Emblem Three Houses because I think it's the most accessible Fire Emblem game. But it does take a long time. I'm not gonna lie. It will take you a very, very long time to beat it.
Especially all the routes.
Yeah, well, I don't even go through all 3 routes. So like that's a Caro thing and not me. What I suggest you to try out and play, and it's very cheap. It's always very cheap to get, is Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I thought that there were 2 games that I thought you were going to say to me, and that was one of them. Yeah. I should.
I think that's a great entry to the tactical RPG strategy genre. And I want to see how you fare in that genre, because I know you probably haven't gotten into it too much.
I'm scared to play a game like that because I'm not good at strategy. I panic.
So this
do a lot.
You can make this as easy as you want. Okay, so you can and no shame, double the life, make it super simple. It will be it could be very, very just simple for you. But like I think Mario plus Rabbids is good because it has only 2 or 3 characters you're controlling, and it does a lot of great things and goes really in depth with those 3 characters. And you can switch them out however you want, kind of like Chrono Trigger. It's definitely like Chrono Trigger, really. Okay. It's really focused gameplay, and each stage it invokes a different type of strategy you need to do, and bosses have different strategies you need to do. Wow.
Like Chrono Trigger.
It sounds Chrono Trigger inspired.
Chrono Trigger light.
It's definitely tactical RPG, environmental. It's very environmental as well. Okay. So you use all that type of stuff. So
now we didn't talk about it before, but I could definitely see that game getting a sequel this E3.
Yes,
we talked about that I think a couple weeks ago.
I think it's gonna happen. I wanted to happen last year, but it didn't, and I think it's because of COVID. That studio's making that game. That studio has not announced their game since Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle. That's Ubisoft. Oh my gosh, it's one of their new ones. I just forgot what city name, but it's in Europe. I think France. We'll see.
Oh, was it Milan?
Oh, it is Milan. I think it is Milan.
My friend actually went for a Mario Rabbids competition as part of that. Yeah,
that's super cool.
A couple years ago.
Yeah, so I think that's the city. And they have not made any. I'm sure they support other studios in Ubisoft, but they're definitely making a Mario plus Rabbids 2.
I think it sold really well and it got DLC. Like, why wouldn't they?
Oh yeah,
capitalize on that.
Definitely. And it's I think it's gonna be. It could be in the Nintendo presentation, but I totally see it being on Ubisoft's thing just to have that Nintendo Ubisoft collaboration once again and shining on Ubisoft's stage.
I think wasn't the first one announced at Ubisoft's, and then it also got a trailer at Nintendo's just to be like, oh yeah, by the way, this was announced and it's coming out for Switch.
I
Is that how it went down?
I forgot if they ever showed it at Nintendo's Direct,
Sure
but
they would have, wouldn't they?
I definitely remember Miyamoto being in the audience for the
Yeah.
Ubisoft.
It was cool. Yeah.
That was really cool to see. So yeah.
Yeah, I would not be surprised if we saw that again at Ubisoft's this year.
But definitely, so if you can get it for, I think I will
It's been
ping
pretty
you.
cheap.
I'll ping you the next
Okay.
sale. Get the gold edition. Donkey Kong's
Yeah, where
so
it's all
good.
the DLC. Yeah, okay.
It's
Okay.
I
I would at
think
least
it's like
try it. I don't know if
$20.
this is a game that, like, if I click with it, obviously I would keep going, but like just to try it, like even just to try some levels and kind of see what it's like.
It is definitely like you can play for maybe a stream session, 2 or 3 hours, and you'll understand what the game is.
Okay.
And see what
That's
it
a good
is.
pitch. I like that.
Mm-hmm. Right.
That wraps up our questions. We managed to fill an entire show with just the two of us. We can talk.
There you
Who
go.
needs Donnie?
Donnie, you can stay on vacation all you want.
I think
Okay.
he probably is happy that we're not talking about Switch Pro right now, that it didn't get announced, that if it does get announced next week, he'll be able to talk about it with us.
Yeah. I'm sure he'll splurge a lot next week. Oh man. Switch Pro, it has to be soon. It's very soon. It's this month.
We'll see. If not, then maybe our title next week will be Switch Pro is still imminent.
That sounds good.
All right, that will wrap things up. Good night, Koopalings, and see you next week.
Bye-bye.